Hi, everyone. My name's Tavisha Martin. I'm a PhD student at Michigan State University, and I will be presenting Living Soil, the biodiversity that is under your feet. So, a little bit about me. I've been an environmentalist from a very young age. A formative experience that kind of impacted me was the town that I am from had a large harmful algal bloom and that contaminated my city's water quality for around 2 weeks. We did not have a supply of fresh water, and that got me really interested in kind of like these environmental issues that are starting to become more apparent in our world today. And from there, I went on to study environmental science in at the University of Toledo and got my bachelor's in science. I have since then gotten my master's in science from The Ohio State University, studying aspects of soil biodiversity. And I am now a current PhD student at Michigan State University in Dr. Christine Sprenger's laboratory. So, in a handful of soil, there are 5,000 insects, arachnids, and worms, 10,000 nematodes, a billion bacteria, and 50 kilometers of fungi. So, this is a lot of life and a lot of um, living organisms in a handful of soil. So, preserving soil biodiversity is essential, and particularly it's essential for ecosystem functioning. So, when I say ecosystem functioning, I mean that the soil, flora, and fauna are essential for promoting decomposition, so taking organic matter at the surface and breaking it down um, into available nutrients for plants, nutrient cycling, so making those available nutrients that plants can then uptake, as well as for plant growth. And in tune with plant growth, they're also very important for growing crops. And this is super important for maintaining our global food security so that everyone can have access to food. And this is really what my work has focused on. So I really looking at agricultural management practices and how we're growing our food and how this will impact global soil biodiversity and the ecosystem functions that they really maintain. So we need agriculture to grow our food. But it's more of the question of how are we producing our food. So 37.6% of the land area is used to grow crops for food, biofuels, and fiber for clothes. In the Midwest of the United States of America, we produce 33% of the world's corn and 34% of the world's soybeans. So this is a lot of food production that the Midwest is responsible for, and the corn and soybeans that we produce are distributed globally. But how we're producing these crops is really causing a sharp decline in soil biodiversity and therefore a loss in ecosystem functions. So, sustainable agriculture is one way in which we can grow our food, but also preserve soil biodiversity. So instead of using these intensive management practices that can cause declines in soil biodiversity and therefore lead to problems of nutrient cycling and plant growth, I investigate how agricultural practices like no-till and cover cropping can rescue the decline in soil biodiversity. And specifically, I look at one aspect of soil biodiversity, which are the nematodes. And this is a picture of a nematode shown here on your right. So they are microscopic roundworms in the soil that eat bacteria and fungi. And because they prey on smaller microbes in the soil, they're really important for ecosystem processes such as nutrient cycling. And I try to understand how sustainable agricultural practices can really preserve nematode diversity and sustain ecosystem functions. Currently, during my work through my master's and PhD, I found that decreasing the intensity in which we farm fields in the Midwest can really cause an increase in nematode diversity and therefore cause sustained ecosystem services. So thank you guys so much for listening to my introduction on my work, and I look forward to seeing and meeting you and answering all of your questions very soon. Thank you.